Howdy, folks. Brian Cusco here at Redline Report, and my other camera that I just had fixed is not working, so I'm using this thing instead. So I'll probably most of the interviews not have a camera on my face, but that's fine because that's not what these interviews are about. They're about the people that I have on. So I guess that kind of works out. Today we're having Sky, who I just met at the show, and she's going to talk about her YouTube channel and her plans for it. And we also got a cool animal that she's going to share. And just to remind you that Redline Report is brought to you by Redline Shipping. So check the link in the description to use the service if you haven't already. It's the best out there, in my opinion. You're watching Redline Report. Sky, it's good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too, Brian.
Yeah. Well,
It was awesome seeing you here, and yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, you had me on there for an interview when you walked through yesterday, and I thought
Yeah.
I might as well return the favor.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm still, just a little person, but it's cool to get to talk to you guys that have been doing it for so long.
We're still little people too, in my opinion. It's just, however long you've been doing it, you're still I would hope that you can remember that we all started our YouTube channels somewhere. And, the only reason that I got any kind of traction whatsoever is because people who had channels that have been around longer than mine or were bigger than mine were willing to have me on and give me a little boost,
Yeah.
Otherwise I never would have gotten anywhere with that, I don't think. Or at least it was extremely helpful to have that.
Yeah.
It was actually big, not just because they would help boost my subscribers by putting the link in the description, but just to get experience with people who have been doing it for a longer time and hear tips and tricks that they have, and besides that, sorry, today's about you, but I just got to share this
good.
as well. Like, besides just like the tips and tricks and the sharing the links, but just knowing that people that were doing out there that had gotten to that spot were willing to help somebody out who was just getting started. Made it feel like, okay, this is cool. Like, I don't feel like I'm going to be ostracized, or the opposite. It's like some people are willing to help lift other people up in this community.
Yeah, and I really noticed that yesterday with all the interviews that I did with people. Everybody was so nice, and it felt great to talk to people. I'm typically a very shy person. 2 years ago, I couldn't have walked up to you and said hi. So to be doing it now is just really exciting.
What made you decide to want to do it?
I watch a lot of vlogs on YouTube, and I love seeing them, and I love recording my own experiences so I can go back and rewatch it. But if I can record things that other people also enjoy and share that with them, I think that's really fun too. Just to, people that can't make it to the show, or like me, I hyperfixate on the show leading up to the show, and I get really excited, and I'm watching vlog after vlog after vlog, and I just want to be one more out there for people to see.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's cool because what do you think you bring to your channel besides yourself? Obviously, you are your own person, and I think that's the cool thing about YouTube is it is about you and like what your own unique perspective is. Well, what do you think that is for you?
I'm really not sure. I do sometimes. A lot of the time, what I like to think about is that I think differently sometimes because I am neurodivergent. So the way that I might see a situation might be a little bit different than the way somebody else might, and I like to kind of throw my perspective out there. I like to think 10 steps ahead. So last night, I'm sitting there thinking, what are they going to say? What am I going to say? What can I do? But that's not much, but it's a start.
Yeah, I think the more that you share whatever that perspective is, openly and honestly with your opinions, that's where your channel is going to grow because you have your own unique perspective. Nobody wants to hear what
Everybody else has already said.
right.
Yeah.
Right. That's already out there. So the more you can bring something unique, and like, oh, that's a different take on I hadn't thought about. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So I hope that my perspectives are somewhat unique. I don't have a whole lot of videos out yet, but as I get more comfortable and start doing it more, I really want to share, the way I see things, the way I look at an animal, or, the way I want to do enrichment or things like that.
Yeah. That's good. So speaking of animal, let's look at this little guy you got here.
Yeah, this is Morningstar. He is, we don't know male or female, but it's a zebra mantis that we got from the Bug Plug. And they actually molted last night, which is pretty cool. So they basically doubled in size since we bought it yesterday.
Yeah, which is amazing. So what's the plan here for this animal as far as like enrichment and like what are your thoughts here? What are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
so we're gonna put him in a nice tall enclosure, so he's got lots of climbing space, lots of leaves and branches, and then offering a variety of feeders. We love doing that between mealworms and dubia roaches and stuff like that. And they are fun to get out and handle from time to time until they get their wings. Then I don't handle them anymore because I don't want them flying around. I had that happen once with a giant Asian. But yeah, just something to be cool and check out and take fun pictures of.
Have you kept inverters before?
Yep, we've kept giant Asian. I actually bred. They have way too many babies. I don't ever want to do that again. We've done spiny flowers, ghost mantises, boxer mantids. Feel like I did do orchids for a minute.
Those ones are incredible.
They are so beautiful. And I basically kind of babysat for a friend of mine, and I would take like 10, 15 mantises home and babysit them, and then she would take them to the show the next weekend. That was a lot of fun too.
Is it okay if I open it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So how many videos do you have on your channel so far? Do you know the number? I know you said it was just a few, so I'm just curious if you.
I think if you count my shorts, it's like 31 videos or 32 whenever the one I made earlier posts.
So you're planning to do shorts and long form?
Yep. I try to do shorts just to keep something going when I don't have long form ideas, but I'll do like a hyperlapse of me checking on all the reptiles in the morning or something like that. And those are really fun. But I do want to focus more on long form. It's just a matter of getting ideas and having places to go like this to, do something interesting.
Yeah, having a plan for future videos is definitely a good idea. I'm trying to get better at that. A lot of times, especially on my vlog channel, my other channel, I just sometimes I'll think of something that day, and then I'm like, okay, let's do this today.
Well,
And
your uncut are amazing.
oh, thanks. That's the ones that I usually don't have. I do always think like, okay, I have to have something. I'm not just gonna hit record and be like, all right, what are we gonna do? So I think first, but sometimes it's not till that day. But I think, especially after hanging out with Clint this past week, he looking at his little schedule, he has like a little schedule of like all the videos he's planning to shoot. And it's like several months out.
Wow.
And
So organized. I'm not surprised.
yeah, it's not surprising at all. But I think that I could take a good page out of that book and be like, maybe I should have a little bit of a plan ahead of time.
Right.
Probably set yourself up for a little more success rather than trying to scramble for. So do you plan to put out? What do you have a schedule of like?
No, I don't have any sort of schedule yet because I run out of ideas so fast, unfortunately. But especially now that the weather's getting warmer and I can get outside and film outside, it'll be a lot easier for me to get, especially short form videos talking about like the super dwarf retics that we have, or I do like to make videos talking about American alligators. They are my special interest, my true love. There's nothing in this world I love more than an American alligator. I'm sorry, husband.
Do you have one?
We do.
Oh.
We don't recommend them as pets, though, but he was born into the pet trade, he or she. And we have plans for their entire life. We're going to be basically, we don't have kids and we don't plan on having kids. So instead of saving for a child's college fund, we're saving for an indoor outdoor pool and enclosure for the alligator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's that in itself right there is like a whole channel's worth of content. I feel like that all the plans you got there for that.
Yeah,
That's gonna be pretty cool to see.
absolutely. We're working on his 8-foot enclosure right now. And after that, it'll be, 12 foot. It'll be outside in the summertime. But we definitely want indoor for the wintertime to keep him, 50, 60 degrees. Let him still cool off, but still stay warm enough.
That's amazing. Where are you?
We're in Michigan.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in Michigan, it is very easy to get American alligators.
Oh, really?
You can get a hatchling at a reptile show for $200 or $150, and
Wow.
you see them all the time pop up on Facebook where they have them for a year or two and then they get too big and they can't keep them anymore.
Yeah.
So that's something that I like to talk about on my channel, is try to encourage people that if you want an animal like that, that's okay, but you have to plan ahead for it. They are extremely intelligent creatures and they deserve that respect, as
Totally.
with all animals.
Right. Yeah, with something like this is a little more doable. You can get a mantis and you don't have to like build a house for it.
Right, and it's not going to live 80 years.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's an important thing, because I think that happens as more and more people come into the hobby. You're gonna have this choice like, oh, that's cool, I want that. But to really know like what it is you're getting yourself into is very important.
Absolutely.
And I think the more people putting out content that is talking about that, because for whatever reason, the the more responsibly minded content doesn't seem to get as much traction as the latter, or the alternative.
It's not as flashy.
So I think it's good to get as much of that out there as possible. I don't know. That's my opinion, but
Yeah, that's what we're trying our best to get that out there. But, I'm still, I don't want to say newer to this because I have kept reptiles, but I am younger, and I don't want people to think that I'm just trying to say, oh, well, I know everything because I own an alligator or I have a YouTube channel. There's a
just
lot
my
that,
perspective.
yeah, there's a lot that I have to learn, and that's something that I'm trying to balance in my videos, is making sure that I'm getting information across, but I'm not coming across as a know-it-all.
Yeah, I think that's helpful. I think a lot of people, it makes these. I mean, it's good to know what you're talking about, or at least have an idea, I guess. But it's also,
Right.
I don't know. I've talked about doing a channel like this too, where like you don't know, and you're just on that journey of learning and experiencing, and then people can learn with you,
Yeah.
as you learn as well. So that's sometimes the best way to teach somebody something. At least I know when I'm teaching somebody something, that's sometimes when I learn the most about it, while I'm teaching it. So it's
Yeah.
interesting how that works.
And I find the more I learn about something, the more I want to teach about it, the easier it is to remember the information.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Sky, what are your goals with the channel? Do you have any goals in mind with it?
Mostly it's for fun. It would be cool to have a decent amount of people that watch the videos. We do have, we have a Facebook page too that we were breeding reptiles for a while, but we have cut back on that. Eventually, I would like it to support that if we get back into breeding. But we're balancing with ethics of, animals that we used to breed are very popular already, and there are enough breeders out there already that some end up in rescues, and we don't want to add to that. So we've moved away from those species. Now we're kind of in an in-between where we're looking for something that we're passionate about working with, that there is a need for in the hobby.
Cool. I love that. That's awesome. Well, let's see, where are we at? Oh, okay, getting about. We usually like 10, 15 minutes, so
Oh, sweet.
right in there. Is there anything you'd like to share before we wrap? Anything in particular? Definitely, we're obviously going to have your link down in the description for your channel.
I appreciate that.
Anything that you want to share, any words of wisdom or encouragement, or just anything at all that you want
Anything
to
at all.
share?
Communication is key with all of your relationships, with people, with animals, even with inanimate stuff. Sometimes you got to communicate with your phone, And I think as far as life in the universe goes, communication is number one.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah, nobody's ever brought that up. All the vendors I can think back of. I mean, not that specifically. So that's good. That's good advice. I agree, especially when it comes to relationships
Yes.
with living things, especially people.
Yeah.
Open and honest communication. You're not going to get very far without it. You might be able to limp along without it, but without it actually getting there, eventually that whatever it is that you need to communicate is going to get communicated. So why not be open and honest about it up front, so we don't have to build up to a huge explosion and we can just figure this out in the moment. Yeah.
Right.
It's important. It's good. I'm glad
Yeah.
you brought that up.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming sitting down, Sky.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been very great meeting you.
You too. Thank you guys for watching. As I mentioned, there will be a link in the description for Sky's channel. Go check her out. She just had me on recently, and she's got a good perspective to offer, like she was talking about. So go check her out, please, and we'll see you right next week. We'll see you right back here next week for another interview on the Redline Report. Until then, y'all take care.